Good day, everybody, and nice to be talking again. Um, it is a show just at the last minute, so I'm not sure how many people, if any, will turn up. But there are one or two things I want to get off my chest, as they say. Uh, I'm going to shortly play a good explanation which tells us why the intelligent design really community have nothing to go on, and that evolution, the evidence for this is overwhelming. But just to begin with, I see a disturbing chat on the channel of the Proverbs guys, and it's believers join the panel, so you have to believe. I'm not sure what you believe in. You have to believe in what? The Tooth Fairy or Santa Claus or oh no, but of course it is. You have to be a believer in their particular version of their particular religion, and if you don't quite fit that mold, you can't, join in. You are a second class citizen. They, of course, therefore have no desire to win the souls for their Lord, like they claim. They just want an echo chamber. But I see on this one of the Captain Stump, or I see it misspelled on one of his things, Captain Sump. They left the T out. Oh, never mind. Anyway, so they have a thing on this, and suddenly Mr. Pike, who is a reasonable person, says, "Have you guys banned Father Chuck from this channel?" And See Now and Nah, who I think is the Lupin, says, "He's not banned, just a limited panel tonight." Christian Pike said, "That sounded like he was banned or something. I certainly hope that isn't the case." See Now and No, or Lupin, then says, "There may have been some crossroads that will be resolved privately." So already he is resiling from his first statement. Oh no, he's not banned. It's just a limited panel. Then, when questioned again by Mr. Pike, he comes out, "Oh no, something going to have to be resolved privately." So why not just tell the truth in the first place? And Christian Pike says, "Oh, the public statement about Chuck wasn't very private." And then See Now and No says, "This something to discuss later. That's something to discuss later." So clearly they don't like us to know how they engineer and uh, get their shows so that only the right kind of people, the right kind of views can be on their little echo chamber. So I thought that was a little rough. But anyway, I want to now go on to, and I will take that off the screen. You can see it on my screen. You've had a chance to read it to show I am telling the truth. Okay, so let's stop the screen share for that. Uh, then the next thing I want to go on, I hear many people say, "Oh, evolution, it's not really confirmed, and the scientific community is not sure." Well, I think you hear from Dr. Francis Collins, um, who is a real doctor and has advanced qualifications, not only as in the medical field, but also in DNA and the genome. And in fact, he led the mission to map the human genome. So this is not some preacher from Alabama who can shoot rubber airplanes or rubber bands and make paper airplanes. This is a real scientist, and what's more, someone who's been at the forefront of his field. Anyway, he has a very good explanation that actually goes into the detail why the that it could not be intelligent design, because that's what the first thing they say. Oh, well, DNA, it could actually show intelligent design, or that it was designed. Well, Dr. Collins actually explains why not. He can explain it a whole lot better than me. So I'm going to share the screen, and you're going to hear this Dr. Collins. So let's just make sure we can hear the sound as well. Okay, I hope you can hear this sound, because when I try it again, that doesn't always work. So follow these steps to share your screen on Chrome. Present, share screen. Okay, now, okay, the audio, open a new, drag and drop a video file from to the new Chrome tab. What? I never had to do this before. I could just click one little button and do it. Oh, so that is going to be interesting. You have to drag and drop, So, oh my goodness, why do you have to do all that? What is the problem that causes this? Anyway, I will try it and see what happens. If anybody is listening, can they let me know? Okay. We would get rid of this, and we will go on to the sharing of the screen. Share screen, claim tab, share tab audio, and here we go.
Is your problem here? Let's talk about this. If evolution is such a stumbling block in this science-faith conversation, we better ask the question whether it is well-founded or not. And certainly there are people saying evolution is on its last legs. As somebody who studies DNA, that DNA has become probably the strongest window into this question that we could imagine. Darwin could not possibly have imagined a better means of testing his theory, except maybe for a time machine, because along comes DNA with its digital code, and it provides us insights that are really quite phenomenal. And in fact, the bottom line is that DNA tells us that Darwin's theory was fundamentally right on target. We have not worked out some of the mathematical details of some of this, but I think it's fair to say that here in 2009, serious biologists almost universally see evolution as so fundamental that you can't really think about life sciences without it at the core. So what's some of the evidence to support what I just said? Well, looking at the fossil record is one thing. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about DNA because I think it gives us more detailed information, but the fossil record is entirely consistent with what I'm going to say. We have, after all, compared now the genomes of multiple organisms. We not only sequenced the human genome, but the mouse, the chimpanzee, the dog, the honeybee, the sea urchin, the macaque, good heavens, the platypus. And those are just the ones that made the cover of Nature or Science. There's now about 30 more. And when you put the DNA sequences into a computer and ask the computer to make sense out of it, the computer doesn't know what any of these organisms look like, nor does it know about the fossil record. And the computer comes up with this diagram, which is a tree, an evolutionary tree, consistent entirely with descent from a common ancestor, a tree that includes humans as part of this enterprise, and which agrees in detail with trees that people have previously put together based upon anatomy or the fossil record. Now, you could argue, and people certainly have, that that doesn't prove that common ancestry is right. If all those organisms instead were created by God as individual acts of special creation, it's entirely plausible that God might use some of the same motifs in generating those organisms' genomes, and so the ones that looked most alike would have genomes that were most alike for functional reasons. And I could not refute that on the basis of this particular diagram. But let's look a little deeper. Let's look into the details of genes and also something called pseudogenes. And let me explain a particularly interesting feature of one little snippet of DNA as an example of this. So first of all, we're looking here at 3 genes that happen to be in the same order in humans, cows, mice, and quite a lot of other mammals as well. EPHX2, Gulo, and CLU are in that same order for these three species, which in itself is at least suggestive of a common ancestor. Otherwise, why would these genes be clumped together this way? They are totally different in their functions. There doesn't seem to be any logical reason why they need to be near each other, but they are. But I chose this particular set of genes for a reason, because they tell a very interesting story. Because for the cow and the mouse, all three of those genes are functional. For the human, the one in the middle, Gulo, when you look at its DNA sequence, it is really messed up. In fact, it is what we would call a pseudogene. About half of its coding region has been deleted. It's just not there. It cannot make a protein. It can't do much of anything except travel along from generation to generation as a little DNA fossil of what used to be there. Now, is there a consequence of this? By the way, this is a downgrade, not an upgrade. Most of our genes are not like this, but this one tells a particularly interesting story. So Gulo stands for galunolactone oxidase. What in the world is that? Well, that's the enzyme, which is the final step in the synthesis of ascorbic acid, or vitamin C. And so it is because of that pseudogene, that deletion of Gulo, that those sailors got scurvy, but the mice on the ship didn't. Because this is, for us as humans, one of those things that apparently we got along fine without, except in unusual circumstances. A mutation arose, there was no evolutionary drive to get rid of it, and so it is one we now have. We humans are altogether completely deficient in being able to make vitamin C, whereas other animals are not. Now, look at that picture and try to contemplate how that could have come about in the absence of a common ancestor. If you're going to argue that these are individual acts of special creation, then you would have to say that God intentionally placed a defective gene in the very spot where common ancestry would have predicted it to be. And God would have to do that, presumably, to test our faith. But that sounds like a God that I don't recognize. That sounds like a God who's involved in deception and not in truth.
Hello, can you hear me?
Many more examples.
Yes, I can, and we've just got the main point of what I've been doing. So hello, Aidan, nice to hear you. I just was playing that because it's a good explanation from a real expert in why he does not take any notice of those who say it's intelligent design as opposed to common ancestry. And it's very interesting. So yeah, I've just got that. But I also was a bit upset tonight because I see on the stump panel the people being very rude to Father Charles in the chat. You know, like it seems though he's banned from there too.
Yeah, Lupin said on there, "Oh, he's not banned. It's just a limited panel tonight." Was the language that he used. I heard from Father Charles himself. He messaged me. And he said, "I've officially been banned from stump shows." So I'll probably take Father Charles's word on the matter before I take Dustin.
Yes.
So,
Oh, absolutely. And when I took a screenshot because I cannot see those comments anymore. I think it was the live chat. And so the exact words are, Christian Pike, howdy, Christian Pike. Have you guys banned Father Chuck from this channel? See now and know that's Lupin, isn't it? Yes. He's not banned, just a limited panel tonight. Christian Pike. That sounded like he was banned. I certainly hope that isn't the case. See now and know. There may have been some crossroads that will be resolved privately. Oh, yeah. So he's changed his story already. Christian Pike. That public statement about Chuck wasn't very private. See now and know. That's something to discuss later. So he's been caught in a deception, I think. What's your thoughts?
I think honestly the best case scenario for their argument here, and I guess I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate here. Best case scenario is that Lupin just wasn't properly informed on this. But if he wasn't properly informed, he shouldn't just go out there and make that statement if he doesn't know all of the information. Stump Stump already had very strong words with Chuck, and he even tried to claim on the stream, according to Chuck, that, oh, well, we already talked about how you're not allowed on the show anymore, Chuck. Well, according to Chuck, once again, that conversation was never had between them. And like with Lupin, I'll take Chuck's word on that before I take Stump's.
Oh, yes, any day. Oh, so that's it's a bit sad when that's happening, and to someone who makes good contribution, and he might not agree with everything they say, but he is fundamentally have the same beliefs, and they can't even accept that. Oh my goodness.
Well, they had a questionnaire in the chat I saw as well. I forget the specific verbiage of it, but it went something along the lines of, did the Bible say to love your neighbor even if they were making fun of God or something like that? And it was obviously a response to what Chuck did in his video. So they're going to respond to Chuck's video without having Chuck actually there present. They're going to try to make arguments against it. It's just so typical from that side, because as soon as they actually start addressing issues on the show, that's when they don't allow people to actually be on there to express their point of view on there. It's just, it's really silly. Missing Mod, I see you in the chat. I am doing good right now. I've had a really lovely birthday. I've been spoiled lots by my fiance, so it's been very lovely today. But I noticed that Claude was having a hangout, so I had to come by and check things out for myself.
Well, I hope you like the title, the Claude Bawles Hangout.
Yes.
I put the Kent Hovind and ProverbsGuys name in there so that people looking can find, they can find us too. So it's good. I also think someone had a go at you. Achilles had a go at you too. Was that right? On something?
Did he? I didn't see that. If he did have a go at me,
it was in the chat once again. So maybe.
Oh, I'm not surprised. We had a row in the comments section of I think it was Lupin's video. He was because I called him out on the fact that he was talking poorly about my fiance when I wasn't around. He was
That's the one, yeah. I just looked at the words, backwards. And once again, when you challenge them and you ask them, they do a runner. They never sort of answer.
Well, he said to me, he was like, I challenged you 11 days ago. We should do a debate. And I said, okay, sure, let's do a debate. But he wanted Lupin to be the moderator. I said, no, we can do one with Father Charles where he's the moderator. We can do it on his channel. That's about as neutral a platform as we're going to get here. The last time I tried to go into a room where Lupin had control over things, I got muted the second I tried to answer a question that he tried posing to me. So no, I'm not going to have Lupin as a moderator of a debate between me and Achilles, because that's going to be a blatantly biased debate. I know that Charles is capable of putting his friendship with me aside for a debate and having an open and honest debate, because he's hosted plenty of conversations between people of opposing sides on his show, and it's never been an issue. So he's demonstrated that he has the ability to do that. And he never replied to me when I suggested, let's do it on Father Chow. He's so excited to do this challenge. But then when I say, okay, let's do it on this platform instead, I hear nothing back. It's strange.
It almost becomes a bit like a circus. This, so I know they
Amen
think they are winning souls, but I don't know what kind of souls. And
what souls have they actually won? That's what I want to know. Like, could you give me a tally of all of the people that you've won over so far? Because the one name I've heard is Adam Lohr is the one name I've heard. And when he went on there, he never even claimed to be a Christian. He just said, oh, I had this supernatural experience and I felt wishy-washy because things happened to me that it couldn't have been a coincidence. And it was very strange, and he never made an appearance again on the show after that. So I don't see how he was someone who was won over, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I just give us a tally of all of these people, because you're a ministry, right? You're supposed to be out there winning souls. So I don't know. You know what? It's funny because one of the things that Steven says in that video that he made a few days back was, if I have to, if my channel gets taken away from me, I'll go out to every street corner in Georgia and I'll keep preaching the good word. It's like, you could do that right now. Like, you could literally go out and go and preach on street corners and go and win souls in real life. I guarantee you will make more progress doing that in real life than you're doing online. But you don't get accolades from doing it in public. People aren't going to tune into you and give you attention if you actually go and do that in real life. So it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to evangelize from the comfort of your own home. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I think I saw that little stream and I made a bit of it's a bit naughty. It's maybe slightly mocking of it, I think. And that's the one where I read the reading about the bear coming and killing the boys.
Second Kings, yes.
Well,
yes.
The rest of it was, I'd said, I was very emotional and I was going to carry on in my fight for the cause of truth, even if I had to, oh my goodness. These guys, I don't know what I would not be like this if we could all sit around and have discussions, but it's as soon as, and I've been able, I've been on some of their shows earlier, but of course not now. I'm totally out of favor. But that's good. That's what's made me start my channel. So in fact, it's worse for them.
Yeah, Missing Mod says in the chat, I just asked Christian tonight if he would teach me some stuff about evolution. I really want to know both sides. I know nothing but what Kent says about evolution. I am secure in my faith. Well, I'm glad that you're at least expressing an interest in trying to learn the other side. And I mean, I can respect that a heck of a lot more than someone. It's almost like we were having a conversation earlier, and Big Bad Mama was trying to say to Lupin, look up the evidence for it, and he said, no, you're the one making the claim. It's almost like Galileo's colleague when Galileo said, look in the telescope and you'll see what I'm taught. No, I won't look in the telescope, because he's so secure in his own beliefs that he doesn't want to actually look in the telescope, because he knows that what he'll see will ultimately undermine what he wants to. I guess looking up Google Images is a sufficient level of research for debunking Big Bad Mama's, actual education on what they're talking about.
Yes. Well, I just it's good. And I'm speaking to Missing Mod now. I've just sent her a message too. That I personally, and I'm a lapsed Christian. I still think you can have Christian faith and accept evolution, but
Christian's a great example.
The fundamentalists say no. They don't. So that's the people like on the ProverbsGuy and probably Kent. Well, no, definitely Kent and Ken Am and all those people. But there are many Christians who are also scientists, and they accept evolution because of their science.
Yeah, I mean, like Missing Mod mentioned, and Christian is a great example of a Christian who still ascribes to evolution and still thinks that Darwinian evolution is ultimately true. And I feel like that's been one of the big contention points that kind of has been causing him to rub up against this community. And I'll say this because he wasn't saying this part of our conversation in confidence, but he had said to me at one point, he was like, I'm thinking about just leaving this whole group of people, because it feels like every time I go in there, there's some sort of dispute regarding my views on evolution or my views on predestination or this or that. And I said, well, if your views being different is enough for you to get so exhausted with a group of people that you don't want to be around them anymore, I know it's not because you don't want to talk about them. I mean, like, me and Christian have butted heads plenty of times on those ideas, and he's never said, oh, Aiden, I'm sick of it. I just don't want to talk with you anymore. I just want to stop being friends with you. And I feel like that goes to show that it's not the conflict itself that is a problem for him. It's how they deal with it over there, because they never actually bring any of these problems up with people. They'll claim that they bring them up with people, but they won't bring them up until they're banned from the show.
But you know what? I do feel a bit sad for Father Charles, because he will take this, personally, from if those people ever go at him. He really likes to be a friend to all, and that's a very admirable quality. But I think they're going to reject him, and
Yeah.
they've already been. Well, you saw where Faithful was spoken to by Stephen. It wasn't so good. Do you remember that a couple of days ago?
Yes,
Or a
yeah,
day
when
ago?
he tried, it's funny because he hits her. He has told me on multiple occasions, Aiden, I don't want you using any gotcha questions on me. I don't want you trying to hit me with gotcha
Yeah.
questions. And then he goes at Faithful with the most blatant gotcha question I've ever seen in my entire life, which is, here, I'm going to shove some scripture in your face and tell you that this is what it means. Are you a born again Christian? AKA, do you believe what I'm saying to you right now? Yes or no? How is that not a gotcha question?
Oh, it was all gotcha, one after the other. And so that's why I put it up. I think I put it up on a show. I thought it was so rude.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was no
so
good.
they're going to end up a real echo chamber.
Well, now that Father
Yeah.
Charles is gone, like what's their excuse now? I'll be totally honest with you. I didn't tune into much or any of that stream because I've been enjoying my birthday, but I heard about
Oh,
it
yes.
from Father Chuck. And like I genuinely, unless they said it on the stream and I just didn't hear it, I'm genuinely curious what their excuse is for this now. Because originally the whole narrative was it's atheists against Christians. It's the black and white. You're either a Christian and you're a good guy, or you're an atheist and you're a bad guy. And now the lines have become way more blurry with Charles and Christian and missing Maud and like they wanted these dividing lines to go down where everyone would either be on one side or the other, and surprise surprise, that's not how human nature works. When people are told to pick a side in most conflicts, unless they have as deep a stakes as the person telling them to pick sides, chances are they're not really going to care all that much as far as whether they're on one side or the other. They probably care more about the actual content of what's being said. But I feel like the zealotry has gotten so out of hand over there that they're more focused on what side you're on rather than the actual ideas expressed by whichever side.
Yes, well, Missing Modest put in the comments that Christian told them if Chuck isn't welcome, he won't be coming back. And she says, I'm with Christian on that. And I said, well, yeah, that's the principled response, and you don't have to agree or disagree. That's not the point. It's coming on, having your say, and when they get all out of sorts about, well, someone has said a word like silly, which was me. I said something was silly. Well, they jumped down, Achilles jumped down my throat, followed by Stump, because I said it was silly, but they were talking about people being satanic and,
Yes,
and dumb and
monsters.
stupid and monsters, and that was acceptable. So it's just so, I think even like a young grade school child, they could see that if they looked at it. It could be a useful teaching tool.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Missing Mod said, I just go back a little bit.
Mm.
She said, I will admit he was very aggressive for no good reason. And you asked, who is aggressive today? And she answered, Lupin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is worth pointing out that Lupin was the one that initiated the argument when he started going after Big Bad Mama's statement that she doesn't worship any gods or anything like that. He immediately started off on an argument from there and then walked away from the argument when it wasn't going his way. And then he went and said in the comments, like, I'm not going to engage with foolishness, was what he said. Well, you already said that we were foolish before, so why did you waste your time coming here if you think that we're fools to begin with? It's just if you're gonna come up with a story, at least make it make sense in the context of itself, man.
Yeah.
Come on now. Go ahead.
Which show was that on?
That's he has his own copy of the show earlier today. He cut out the part where he came on and uploaded it on his See Now and No channel.
All right.
He's got
Yeah.
his own upload of it on there.
Mm.
I commented on it, and that's where Achilles became.
Right.
We had
Now
our
it all makes sense. He is very aggressive, the Achilles, for a Christian. Very aggressive. He jumped down your throat.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you have no faith, little to no faith. I mean, you've pointed that out before in our conversations, Missing Mod. Like for people who claim to have such deep-seated faith in God, they act so frequently like they're so fragile, and that even just having something that's meant to be just a simple joke said at them is just an attack, and it's horrible. Well, I mean, come on, people. Didn't your ancestors get fed to lions? Like, didn't the original Christians get tortured for their beliefs? And you're really going to sit here and try and act like like Logan making funny videos where he cuts out parts of what you say to make it sound silly? That's somehow equivalent to being fed to lions or to being persecuted by the Romans. Like, come on, give me a break. Give me a break. Have a sense of humor. Like, just learn to laugh at yourself. How many jokes does Christian Pike? He comes on and he pokes fun at me and he tries to poke holes in my arguments, and I don't get all upset at him because I know it's just a simple joke. It's not anything that's meant to be taken seriously. Missing Mod says in the chat, even if you are a Satanist, that just makes me love you more. I have compassion for anyone who is suffering or has suffered in life. I just look at humans like humans. Well, that's what Scripture says you ought to do when it comes to having empathy for people and trying to bring somebody into the fold of the church. Like, compassion is what will win anybody over to even thinking about your ideas. You're never going to win them over with fire and brimstone. It makes you feel better about yourself if you preach fire and brimstone to people, but ultimately it doesn't serve any purpose to the actual people that you're saying those things to. So you were going to say something, Claude. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yes, I'm just perplexed by all of this and the different characters. I've got to learn all the different characters, and then they change the name, and it gets confusing for me too. It's but I find it interesting. It's fascinating. But I think the show of the Proverbs is not going to grow. And Father Charles's show is the one that's going to grow. The other day, there were 9 of us participating. It's hard, sometimes to get a word in, but it shows all those people were interested in talking to each other. And the most I saw on Proverbs was 5 or 6.
Well, not only that, but I mean, like, if we're just going to compare analytics, which I haven't done that up until this point because I don't think it's ultimately all that important. But if we
it is to them.
Yes, that's true. So
that's why,
I'll speak their language for a moment. Like Father Charles's channel has like 1/4 of the subscribers that Steven has on his channel, and it consistently gets just as much, if not more, views and likes than the videos that they put out on their channel. And I point that out because you kind of jumped. Yeah, you jumped the gun on the point I was going to make earlier. It matters to them so much that they don't get the views they want. I remember Stump. He said to I think it was Father Charles, maybe it was someone else. No, it was Father Charles. He said, "I'm thinking about quitting doing these Bible studies because I'm just trying to do a Bible study, and you're bringing all of the viewers over to your show and leaving me all by myself with nobody watching." It's like, why does that matter to you? Like, I'm not sitting there obsessing over the number of people watching the show. I'm sure that there's, maybe 1 or 2 people watching us right now. I don't know.
It doesn't matter,
really
yeah.
matter. Exactly.
Yeah, because I'm not monetized. I never will be. And but when I see no, I know he's very concerned. He wants to get his viewing numbers up, and become this wonderful ministry. I called it a mini-series more than a ministries. Proverbs Guy mini-series. Because
Yes.
it's drama.
Christian was complaining about that earlier today. He said, there always has to be something going on in this community. We can't just sit down and talk about biblical topics. We can't just leave things alone and let it be. We always have to be engaging in some sort of drama. And I said, well, Christian, you've got to understand on that point, like, just genuinely ask yourself for a moment, which side of this whole thing has actually been pushing to try to make that come to an end. It certainly hasn't been their side. I'm not trying to act like our side has been perfect.
No, of course not. I've been a bit cheeky.
Same. No, I can't act like I'm not guilty of that myself, but I think it's all in good fun ultimately. Like, I don't think anything that we've said over the course of these last few days has actually been, insulting or rude. It's just been it's been a little bit of elbowing, a little bit of ribbing between buddies. Not
and I am sensitive enough. I would not make fun of their God. I don't believe it necessarily, and I don't know. But I don't go making joke about him. They're the ones that are the jokes.
Yes. Yeah, they always say we mock gods, but the only thing we mock are people. And I don't think that mockery should be inherently interpreted as insulting, because mockery can be used to make points that you can't make otherwise. I mean, like, it's a tool that's been used all throughout human history. And plenty of people, after they were mocked, so to speak, came to realize that through that mockery that, oh, well, maybe I am, exhibiting a character trait I ought not exhibit. Sometimes it takes something like that for you to realize what's going on, but
it does.
They don't want to hear it sometimes, it seems.
So, it's good. And I'm so happy for Big Bad Mama. Some of the views on his channel, of course, I better get that right. They are really big. He got up to 6,000 on one the other day. Oh, hello. So I thought that was really good. Yeah.
Sorry, I was listening.
No problem.
I was just typing in the chat.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm doing a bit the same. But
no, you're right though. Yeah, it's going very good, and I think that I honestly think you're right. I think that our end of the community is heading in the right direction. We're heading forward in a way that's really in a positive direction. I feel like that will only benefit our community rather than take away from it. So,
I see us as a way of bringing on this channel both Christian and non-Christian, and what they want to call themselves, atheists. They want to call themselves, agnostic, whatever. Everybody is welcome here, and we laugh at each other. If they do have a God, I don't mock their God. That's the thing, and which is fine. I'm happy
point.
to show them some respect, but not for themselves necessarily.
Yeah. No, They always say, you mock God, and every time I've ever been told that, I've asked, give me one example, please. I'm begging you at this point, everyone in this community that says I mock God, do the biblical thing and provide me with evidence of the claim that you're making. And if you find me a clip where I mock God, then I'll admit to what I did. That's the thing. Like, it only takes you going and finding this. But if it's so pervasive like you claim, it shouldn't be hard. You shouldn't have to go through much effort to go back and find me saying some horrible stuff as you claim, but you won't do it. And I feel like ultimately the reason why they won't do it is because they know that there's nothing actually there. It's just easier to make a claim. It's easier for anyone to just make a claim than it is to refute that claim, because it's hard, if not impossible, to dispute a negative, to prove a negative. Prove that I don't fly when no one is looking, Claude. Could you prove that I don't that I fly when no one's looking? I don't think you can.
Oh, and I can't prove that there are no leprechauns either.
It's
or a
true.
pot of gold at the rainbow. I can't prove that's not the case. I can't prove Thor doesn't exist. Hmm. But I just look at this one. It's the Big Bad Mama short on you can have 4 wives. You can have cut wives. You can have 4
Yes.
wives. And it's
Yes.
6.3 thousand views. Very good. That's wonderful.
Right? Yeah, no, they've been doing really good. I'm glad to see that their channel is flourishing right now. I mean, the Big Bad Mama's been I think after I first started hanging around, at least going into Brett Keen's rooms, I saw Big Bad Mama there and subscribed to their channel, and I was thankful because I was there for the first episode of Dr. Hovind's House of
Horrors.
Oh my goodness. What a classic series. I couldn't believe it. I was saying to him, I was like, what are we on, 6 or 7? And he's like, no, we're on episode 15 right now. And I was like, what? It couldn't be that long that you've been doing this. But yeah, surely enough.
Because I am really jealous of the Big Bad Mama a little bit because, I had the missing mod, I think, was, interested in me being a Frenchman. Although she was also flirting with that other guy, the Diploma Mill Duck. She likes a man with a title. But now I feel I have lost her to Big Bad Mama. Because Big Bad Mama was spotted looking a bit like a man, leaping over rocks and things and it was very tall.
That
So
footage
I think,
is clearly doctored, Claude. That footage
it
is
must be, yes.
obviously altered. Okay, you know what? If you're gonna be the enemy, Claude, and you're going to try and make spiritual attacks against Big Bad Mama like you are right now, then I'm going to stand firm and something or other about the Civil War. I don't know. It's so strange. I said I think it was on your stream, and I'll point it out again because it's just so amusing to me. On one part, he has Confederate soldiers, and on another part, he has a Revolutionary War. It's like, which side are you on, man? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So the missing mod has left me for the Big Bad Mama, I think, because he's tall and handsome, and I am just a Frenchman. But we French are pretty good, She also, I think, if the Stony Man come around, gonna run off with him too.
Yes.
So missing mod, you have to make your choice. You are either for or against me.
Yes. You can only serve one master, missing mod. Which master will you serve? I'm just joking. It's funny, she'll never admit it, but I swear, I'm sorry, missing mod, but this is just the God's honest truth. I'm convinced you've got a crush on Mark Stoney, missing mod. And it's okay. Like, it's okay if you do. Everyone is, you can have a crush and still be with it only becomes wrong when you actually betray the partner that you're with and you actually enact on those things. But you could have feelings, you just have to not act on them. It's okay though, missing mod. I understand. It's all right. Lol, you guys, I love you all. I'm into Brianna. She is the one for me. See, what did I tell you earlier, missing mod? It's 2023. It's time that we be more progressive in this community. So good. I'm very proud of you, missing mod, for expressing your feelings.
Who is the Brianna?
Brianna is my fiance.
You should be scratching the eyes out of the mod then.
Well, as long as she doesn't make a move. If she makes a move, we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah. Anyway, best to find out now than later.
Yeah. I think Brianna would probably assume that she's making a move with me, so I probably wouldn't even need to claw her eyes out. Brianna will do it for me.
Oh, that's good.
Well, they always say cat fights are the nastiest fights you can see. So
No, we can't look as though we can't do the matchmaking with the Mark because the mod says he's cute, but he's not nice at all. I think you misinterpret him. I think I think he is. He can have a graphic exterior, but I think underneath he's a nice man.
He's got a heart of
And-
gold.
Yeah, so he just, he has the more tough exterior. He doesn't go to ballet or a thing like that, I wouldn't think.
Well, Missing Maud decided that cyber stalking a year or two ago was the way to try and break through Mark's rough exterior, and that didn't seem to work out the way she expected it to, because now he doesn't want to be friends with her anymore. So it's very sad. It's like a reverse Pepe Le Pew, unfortunately.
Oh, and the mod says, I was just messing with Aiden. I've always been boy crazy. And funny thing is, we knew that. We knew that. We have a very good sense of humor. We knew you were messing, and we quite enjoy that. We enjoy a good sense of humor.
That's right. Well, I think I'm going to duck out at this point. But
yes,
it was good.
That's just to say hello briefly. And I just wanted to, just raise that little issue. Well, not so little. I just wanted to make sure Father Charles feels supported.
Yes.
We know the right side morally.
Yes.
And that's good. So. She's no, I was just trying to take him down. Things went perfect. I was just hoping to salvage his biblical understanding and get his confidence up.
Mark,
or was that Aiden? I'm not sure which she's talking about.
Actually talking about Mark. I'm sorry, Missing Mama. I did it again.
It's very good.
Oh my goodness, Missing Mama. This is you're fusing into one entity in my mind. I don't know. It's because you two are such a cute couple. It's my ship name for you two, as the kids call it. But I was going to say, I think that if Mark Stoney got into a debate with you on theology, Missing Maud, you'd find that he's more informed on theology than you think, because I've had many a very deep theological discussion with Mark on a variety of topics. So, 7 foot tall would be cool. Okay, let me ask you something before we go for the night. Missing Maud, what's the thing with tall guys? Like, why? And I'm not saying that because I'm short. I'm not about average height, but it's always been something I've been curious about. What's with the enamoring with tall guys? Like, are they they're harder to kiss?
Missing Maud is tall herself, I think. Is she tall for a woman?
She said she was like 6 foot or something like that. So she's taller than me.
So she needs a taller man, I suppose. But big guys can't reach higher. Oh.
It's just for shelving, hey, so that if something's up too high, they can reach it for you. Well, if you're 6 foot, you can get it yourself, silly. Come on now. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to swear on your show.
Oh, you said silly. Oh my God.
Again now.
poor. Oh, they got big feet too. I think we should stop there.
Yes, I think that ought to be where we leave things off. Good night, everyone.
And very big knees. Okay.
Yes. And the hands.
I'm going to say goodnight to you and the mod. And we catch up on whoever as the next show. I think, Maud, have you advertised you have a show coming up?
Yes, she's got one tomorrow morning.
So what time is that, at Eastern or Central?
Oh, I believe that's 9:15 Central, or sorry, Eastern time, 9:15. I'm pretty
9:15 Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Good night, everybody.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Okay.
Take care.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Bye.